Hello and welcome to Board of It. I'm Farrell, this is Tally.
Hello.
And today we are reviewing Star Wars Unlimited, Shadows of the Galaxy. Star Wars Unlimited is a two-player head-to-head trading card game. And this is starter set entitled Shadows of the Galaxy. So it's going to give you two starter decks to kind of get you into the game. Now, if as a system you don't know anything about Star Wars Unlimited, then I recommend you check out our first video on Star Wars Unlimited, which was based on the initial set of cards released, Sparks of Rebellion. And that video, we go much more into the core rules and how it feels to play. In this review video, we're going to focus much more on Shadows of the Galaxy, what this set adds into the experience, how it adds new mechanics, what are they like, and how it feels now that there's a wealth of cards to build your own deck. And we'll have a link to that original video somewhere floating about and also at the end of the video.
Shadows of the Galaxy is the second set for Star Wars Unlimited, and the new starter set contains a Mandalorian deck and a Moff Gideon deck, both based on the Mando show. Before we get into it, please note that we were very kindly provided a review copy of this by Asmodee Nordics. Shadows of the Galaxy introduces 3 new mechanisms that can now be added into the Star Wars Unlimited system. They are Smuggle, Bounty, and Capture. Smuggle allows you to put a card down as a resource, but then you can, as an action, put it into play. So it's a kind of a sneaky move to be able to get something into play that your opponent didn't know that you had down. Bounty, you attach a certain bounty card to one of your opponent's units that's in play. And when that unit is defeated, you get to collect on the bounty and get some kind of reward, which will be different per bounty card. And then Capture allows you to capture a unit of your opponent's and put it face down underneath one of your units. And when that unit of yours is defeated, it goes back to your opponent in play and any upgrades are lost.
Turning to the two new starter decks, the Mandalorian's deck and Moff Gideon's deck. These are both novel and distinct from each other and the Sparks of Rebellion starter sets. Now, Mandalorian's is based all around upgrades and exhausting. That deck has a lot of weaker units, but also a lot of upgrades. And when you upgrade units, the Mandalorian allows you to exhaust enemy units. On top of that, there's a few units in there like Grogu who allow you to exhaust enemy units. So what you end up with is you play a lot of units easily, but then you kind of load them up with all these upgrades and powers and abilities. And I've got to the point where I have basic units who are worth 8 kind of damage. On the other hand, you have Moff Gideon, who's more classically focused, more damage focused. A lot of the units are about kind of overwhelming the enemy. You have a lot of cards with the overwhelm ability. There are new cards unique to this deck which allow you to deal damage first rather than at the same time as you would normally, meaning that if you take out your opponent's unit, then you don't take damage back, which is obviously a pretty big boon. Moff Gideon himself supports his troops by increasing their firepower. There's a lot of effects which will increase firepower in this condition. And that deck also leans into the smuggling, where you can flip a card from your resources and it comes into play. So more straightforward, more fire focused. And I guess that's to balance out the fact that Mandalorian kind of gets so much experience and is so well shielded and has all these upgrades. We both really enjoyed the 2 new decks, starter decks. It definitely feels like they're progressing the system and being innovative rather than just kind of cashing in and just putting more cards out. You have the 3 new mechanisms, which are all interesting in their own right. I think, obviously, the more cards you get kind of by buying booster packs, maybe the more you could lean into them. I think smuggling was the most present because Moff Gideon's deck revolves around it. And that's kind of like a fun way to have this like secret surprise that you pull out. But Capture usually only happen maybe once, twice a game. So that's also quite interesting, but it's not so unique. And I think Bounty was the one out of the 3 that felt the most flat for us, just because it kind of takes, it's a very, rapid back and forth game. It's almost efficiency race in terms of trying to get damage out as quick as you can. And although the bounties give you a good bonus, you're still kind of taking a turn to play them to a unit. So you almost only want to do that when you're in the right position to take out that unit immediately and you're not kind of worried about what the opponent's going to do. And I'm sure other people will use them better than we did, but that was just how we felt. But yeah, I think I enjoyed the differences in both the starter decks. I think I probably maybe enjoyed them even more than the kind of original set, just because now you have more mechanisms in play, more to think about, more to play around with. So it's getting that depth that trading card games usually get over a period of time. And certainly the kind of units we got in the booster packs we were provided, they're quite interesting as well. And we've gone ahead and made our own decks. So that's something that's quite fun to play around with. So in terms of if you're looking for a starter deck, definitely would recommend this one first over the Sparks of Rebellion, but there's not that much in it, to be honest. Speaking of creating your own decks, it's a really great time to jump into the Star Wars Unlimited system, just because now you have those two different sets. You have the Sparks of Rebellion set, Shadows of the Galaxy set. So now if you want to kind of get into the booster packs and create your own deck, it's a really great time because you have a lot of different options to choose from. And actually me and Tally just for the first time built our own decks from scratch, not just manipulating the starting decks. And we had a lot of fun doing it. It's a really interesting process to kind of select what you want. And it's fun to create these decks with unique characteristics that you did yourself. So Tally's was focused on low-level units and kind of spamming them out and upgrading them with the Mandalorian as her leader. While I went for Fennec Shand as my leader, and I kind of went more heavy, more attack-focused with some heavier units in there. But a lot of my core concept was the fact that Fennec Shand's leader ability allows you to put units into play in an ambush state, allowing you to immediately attack an opponent unit. So you're basically saving a turn there. As I said, this game is very efficiency puzzle-esque, so that can make a big difference. And we really had a lot of fun just doing the two different decks, swapping them, getting to grips with the others. So can thoroughly recommend it, both as if you're just looking for a two-player game to play, something head-to-head that takes half an hour, is very sharp in that regard, or if you want the depth of a collectible trading card game, if you want to make your own decks and have unique units and abilities and very asymmetric powers, then it's also great for that. Can fully recommend it. Final thoughts. I've come to really enjoy Star Wars Unlimited as a two-player game. It's fast and snappy, the turns quickly flow back and forth, and now with the variety of the mechanisms added in with multiple sets, there's a lot of interesting ways to play about with the system, build your deck, and just generally go about playing. And so I've really enjoyed this set in particular, as I mentioned earlier in the video, that I think I prefer it over the original. First set, Sparks of Rebellion. Tally?
Yeah, no, I agree. I've definitely been enjoying it a lot more now that there's, I guess, more variety in what you can do. I like the original game, but I think this has sparked my interest a lot more. And you said the other day that you've noticed I've been playing a little bit better recently. And I do actually, in some ways, put that down to that I found this deck more interesting in that it's more broad and I feel like I can really strategize in a way. I know that like what the cards you're drawing is random, but rather than just kind of going through the motions almost, I feel like, I'm really like leaning into the different actions, the different cards that now we have more variety. So I think it's a good addition. Yep.
So that is our review of Star Wars Unlimited, Shadows of the Galaxy, the second set for Star Wars Unlimited. We hope it was helpful. If you have any questions about Star Wars Unlimited, please let us know. Please remember that if you want to know more, to check out our original Star Wars Unlimited review of the first set. And we really appreciate you watching. So we'll see you next time.